so that it would help to people realize how fast they're going. You know, I think most people, okay, are honest people, and they just don't realize how fast they're going on this wide road. And I think that when you see yourself in excess of 35 miles per hour, that most people probably would take it upon themselves to slow down. So I can tell you that when I drive on Butler up by Continental and it picks me up going 40 into 35, I realize that by seeing that and I begin to slow down. Okay, so I think the radar deterrent could be a good way, but I think it needs to be on both ends, not just on the one. So I want to thank you and your committee for all this hard work you're putting into this.
Thank you. Right. John Luckow has a couple of comments in the chat. John, would you like to address the group, or would you like me to read the chat message? Okay. John Luckow writes, for the record, I believe the traffic islands are great, but must be accompanied by radar speed signs. And a follow-up, as my last comment, Woody Way closure needs to be considered as part of the overall solution. And I have another comment here from Melanie. Melanie, have you been able to get your audio to work? Okay. Melanie's comment is, fully agree with Google Maps, etc. I see groups of motorcyclists cut through here. They most likely don't live in Presidio. Garrett Hall, I have a comment here from you. Would you like to address the group? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I think that it spurred a little bit of recollection here when Richard Henn was saying about the cars being totaled in his driveway. I had one of my cars, $3,500 in damage right in front of my house. I also had the stop sign on here on Highland Mesa and University. That thing got taken down 3 times in the same month. And I think that we already have the damage and the problems before Woody Way has even fully taken effect. Thank you.
I have a comment here from Lisa Richardson, Great Point. Brian, start slowing down traffic down prior to the neighborhood. Lisa, any other final comments for the group? Okay. Then Garrett, you had added another, oh, go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, I wrote it. Oh, hi. I'm sorry, I have a speech disorder, so it makes it hard to speak. I just wanted to say thank you. I don't have any more comments. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And then Garrett, you had another comment, had a high-speed pursuit through these streets 2 weeks ago by DPS. It terminated it out to Loop Road, but came through these streets as fast as the police car could go. There are several sets of skid marks in Boulder Pointe since Woody Way opened. Garrett, any final remarks for tonight?
I think those speak for themselves. Thank you. I don't want to take any more of your time. But
Melanie writes, unfortunately, my microphone is not working. I appreciate you listening to my thoughts through chat. Thank you for giving this the attention it so desperately needs. I think the idea of switching off circles and restrictors happen down in the valley and is a great idea. Keeps people moving and having to change what they are doing. Often only one option becomes memorized by drivers who often drive the street and the speeds go up again after initial changes. Regarding stop signs, the one on Highland Mesa turning into University is pretty disruptive. The stopping and picking back up is much worse than a continuous flow. Please do consider putting Woody Way into this current project. It cannot be separated. Garrett, it seems irresponsible to open roads to more traffic when the known hazardous driving had not been addressed. And Raymond Friend, I agree that speeding will occur regardless of Woody Way being open or closed, but Woody Way has increased the number of speeding incidents just as it has increased traffic volume. In addition, mitigating measures on University will shift traffic and speeding onto an already overly congested Highland Mesa. Do you have any other further comments, Raymond, that you would like to share with the group?
No, I would just add too, as Garrett, I had a state vehicle that was parked at the intersection of Woody Way and Axe Handle, and it was also struck. So the speeding is just an issue. It originates in Woody Way in a large part of the traffic coming west. So again, I don't think you can ignore Woody Way being the root of this problem. Thank you.
And Richard Henn has one more comment. He would like to recommend not waiting till the summer, but putting them in now. Alrighty. Any other further public comment? Otherwise, I would like to close out public comment and turn it over to commissioner discussion. All right. Well, thank you all for holding on, participating, sharing your concerns, ideas, and observations. With that, I'll close public participation and go to commissioner discussion. Commissioner Morley.
Hi, thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to thank Stephanie again and staff for their work trying to find solutions for the speeding that's happening. And then second, I really want to recognize that I hear the neighbors and I feel for you. It sounds like the problems are extensive and that they've been going on for a long time. And with that, I have several comments. So one, I know we separated the gate closure issue, but I will say again, while people are here on the phone, that I do not support that as an option because the city does have adopted policies about trying to create connectivity over having road closures. And so I am looking for other options and do not see that as a way to move forward. Again, I think ultimately what we have is a design problem here. I think we have a roadway that's designed to have traffic driving faster than we want people to drive through neighborhoods. And quite candidly, if somebody's even driving 25 through a neighborhood, that feels fast, even though that's what we say is the appropriate speed. And so we now have a road that encourages people to drive even faster than that. I think part of that, again, is the cars parked on both sides of the road. And when people don't do that at the same place in the roadway, then it doesn't create that narrowing that we originally anticipated. I do think we have zoning code standards that address cars. I don't think we have to accommodate cars in the public right of way for people's personal parking. And I think that the engineering standards can be revised to look at that. And I think it's also something we can consider in this scenario. As I look at aerial photos, I don't see cars parked on the street that often. Most houses do have driveways. And so I think there's opportunity to reconsider that space. I also think that per the ATMP's desire for this to be a bikeway, I hope I got that term right, that we do need, whatever design we come up with needs to incorporate bikes in it. I don't think we can design something that doesn't work for bikes based on that. And while I understand staff for saying it doesn't feel that uncomfortable, we have a group of residents here saying people are speeding down the street. And so those things don't seem to align for me, or maybe they're only comfortable for, confident riders, but maybe not the average rider. I do think ultimately we need to look for ways to narrow the road throughout the length. I like the comments from the public about even before we enter the neighborhood. I think corners need to be sharpened as a way to slow people down so that the turn radiuses aren't so big and they do need to slow down to make those turns. I ultimately think it's a combo of solutions because it's not a one spot solution. It is a roadway that needs a variety of treatments. And I think as I, again, defer to staff to figure out what's best, but it would say prioritize things that work for both bikes and peds. And then also consider as we're investing in this, which solutions can have the best character and aesthetic components as well and meet other goals that are adopted at the city. I tend to agree with residents that I like some of the island features for those reasons, but defer to staff to really think about what best meets all the things we're trying to balance at the city, not just slowing cars down. And then finally, my final comment, because I've brought this up, I think, on almost every item tonight, is just the design problem that we're seeing where we are having to go in and fix roadways that we created, and we're spending money and we don't have a lot of money to spend, I think we would do well to budget a consultant to review the engineering standards. And I know it's budget season, so that's why I bring that up. And ultimately, I think spending on someone to revisit those items at this stage will save us in the long run. And so I hope staff consider that for the next fiscal year. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Kuhn.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This road, and I had friends on this that lived out there, so we'd go out there every once in a while. We need to move towards the islands on this, and I know the staff needs to look at it, and the concerning of the long and the speed they're talking about is significant. So again, it needs to be a multiple things of islands and radars to slow them down. If there's that many wrecks and that's happening, and with the amount of kids that are out there, we need to put something in place now. They can put up the plastic and have that done, and see if the mini islands will help alleviate the problem right now. Like Jess said earlier, it's not going to cost a lot to do that and try that.
Commissioner Parks.
I agree with Commissioner Kuhn. There's a lot to unpack here, and it is a pretty long, two long streets, really, Highland Mesa and University. Yeah, and I also would favor doing, trial islands, even perhaps with choker approaches. I think that one of our neighbors suggested. Also agreeing with Commissioner Morley to consider aesthetics, because this is a pretty attractive neighborhood, as well as considerations for cycling and pedestrians. Thank you.
Thank you. Other commissioner comments? Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Sorry, Derek. Commissioner Kraft and then Commissioner Spice.
I just want to chime in on the idea of testing solutions by rolling out something. It sounds like there's a lot of interest in the islands, but seeing how it works in one location before deciding how to tackle the rest of the road, basically. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Spice.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and great work this evening, keeping track of all of our agenda items and public comments. The islands seem to be the overwhelming option, and the urgency, if there's any way to expedite projects like this from the multiple accidents that the residents have witnessed and suffered through. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Burton, do you have anything that you would like to add, or thoughts on what you've heard?
The only thing I want to add is I agree that it sounds like timeline has been too long, and I think it's time the city paid attention and did something for the people who live there. Since the island seems to be the consensus that I've heard, I would agree with not waiting till summer, move forward now, put our pedestals in place, and see what the end results are. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, commissioners, for all of your thoughts. I mean, from the public and from commissioners, I hear that the islands and doing a trial immediately of an island application. I do hear that we need to look a little bit further upstream and downstream of these two T intersection locations. And it might be a combination of solutions, but as a first step, looking at the islands and extending that evaluation for traffic calming beyond those two T intersections. That is what I've heard tonight. Stephanie, can you please go back to your slide, and I want to make sure that we've hit all of the questions that you asked and that you were seeking direction on.
Yes, of course. Radar feedback signs. We did get some feedback from that. I think a couple of the commission members mentioned those. Are you in favor of those?
Yes, I would support radar feedback signs.
Okay. Combination of multiple options, something you just mentioned, including the islands being, sorry, I'm summarizing it. Do you want to summarize everything? I'd probably prefer that.
No. Either way, Stephanie, it's been a long meeting, so we'll get through it together.
Okay.
Make sure that we got it right.
One thing Jeff mentioned was possibly in our drawing of this guy here, he mentioned possibly doing something like this, entering into the neighborhood. So bumping them out or not bumping them out because there is parking over here. So having one of these islands here, and then maybe at Majestic or even on this corner doing a bump out of some sort. Or from what I've heard from the neighbors, maybe putting one of these guys even further over here to the west.
Yes, that is what I heard too. And I heard the commissioners in support of multiple options and extending beyond just those intersections.
Okay. Let's see. So recommendations for a trial run. So we'll work on that. And I guess I kind of look to Jeff if he wants to come back with some with some more options of kind of squishing a couple together. Jeff, are you still with us?
Come on. Yeah. I've had my finger on the button. Yeah, no, I think it does take a combination of things, both the inside and the outside narrowing, like people have described on San Francisco Street. We only have the center, so people kind of take it wide to go around. So you really need something to keep people honest and bring them back. So yeah, a combination of things I think are the ticket. I don't know that I'm feeling like we don't need to come back. We have some liberty to explore a couple of these options and get with Public Works and try to get something installed before winter hits. And if it's not right, we adjust, but it won't be terrible. It just won't be perfect the first time. We'll do a good job.
Yeah, and I think one thing I failed to echo earlier is the importance of pedestrian and bicycle movement through these areas. And so any one of these options or combination thereof, that'll be a key consideration. I think between what we've heard tonight and with your knowledge, Stephanie's and Martin's support, I think we can accomplish that. Okay. Let's see here. Timing of installation. We probably need to talk about checking back in and what that looks like. So my guess would be, similar to the previous agenda item and discussion that, we try these out and then run speed tests again, speed study and see if, and then also hear from the public again if there has been a reduction in speed, if it's helped.
And that's definitely the right process. I think February will be too soon with weather. It's just not a good time to set the counting equipment. April might be doable depending on how March turns out for weather. So that would be the earliest I think we could check in is April. I think June would be more realistic at this point. But as far as installation of devices, we've got a lot of work coming out of tonight, but we should be able to get moving forward on many of them pretty quickly.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all of my commissioners' time and attention this evening. We had a full house and this was fantastic, and the public for hanging on here this evening. So are there any other final comments related to this agenda item? Otherwise, we'll go to concluding general business. All righty. Thank you, everybody. Closing that one out. Moving to item 4, concluding general business. Looking at the agenda here, we have reports, informational items, and our next meeting. Reports from Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. Martin, is there anything that you would like to share with us specific to PAC and BAC?
We are combining our 2 December meetings into one single BAC-PAC meeting, which will probably be the week of December 14th. You'll get notified, everybody in the commission.
And what is the agenda, Martin? Is it the AT&P mostly?
Yes, mostly.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Anything else that you'd like to add under reports, BAC, PAC? Okay. Informational items 2 from commissioners and staff. I currently do not have anything more to add this evening. Commissioners, do you have anything that you would like to bring forward? All right. Everybody's stomach must be growling. It's time for dinner. Okay. Transportation engineering staffing updates. Jeff, how did your hire go?
We failed, so we'll be trying again in January. That's the quick story. And I know it's late for Cedar Lock at Roundabout. We've mentioned this. We applied for a Highway Safety Improvement Program federal safety grant, and were awarded that grant a couple of cycles ago. And we kicked off design a couple weeks ago on that roundabout. So we're excited to get that thing started. It's definitely going to be a challenge to fit a roundabout in that location, but we'll keep you informed as that moves forward.
Fantastic.
You could pay to move the middle school and make it a little more room.
We were counting on you volunteering that.
I said pay.
Oh.
Kate, Commissioner Morley, do you have any updates with Mountain Line? I know it's late, but you've been doing a lot of work at Mountain Line, so.
I always have updates. We do have a variety of projects going on. The Caspar intersection moves forward. We're talking about redesigning Phoenix Avenue as a part of the Downtown Connection Center project. Those are some of the major ones. I'd be happy to bring a conversation forward to the Transportation Commission at any point in time. We could give a general update if that's of all the projects, or bring forward a specific project, whatever is of interest to the commission.
You know, one thing that I think I'm particularly interested in is with ADOT's recommended no build plus, what that does to BRT, potentially does to BRT funding. And I read about some of that in the, I don't know if it was the TAC minutes or the board minutes, but that gave me some concern. I would hate to miss out on an opportunity for funding BRT as a result of other studies that are underway. So I would be curious to hear more about that, if you're willing to share at the next agenda or the next meeting.
I absolutely would, and I think that's probably really good timing. I'll probably have more information by then.
Right. Okay. informational items. Next meeting is scheduled for February 3rd, Wednesday. Sounds like we'll be, like to add Mountain Line to that meeting agenda, just an update. But as we get closer, Kate, we can check in with you and see if you're ready for that at the time, but I would like to have a placeholder for that. All right, and I'm excited about the ATMP. So any final remarks? Otherwise, I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft. Thank you, Commissioner Kuhn, Spice, Morley.
Yeah, let's do it.
Brian, Kevin. Now I'm mixing up first names, last names. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you,
And thank
Julie.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Jeff.
you, Jeff, Stephanie, and Martin, city staff. Thank you so much.
Happy holidays.
Everybody have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
What's left?
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.